It's Wednesday, that means it's DeFi time at BNC. Let's take a look at some DeFi charts. Pure solid liquid gold TA directly into my veins with my 5G vaccine chip. All right, so dominance. I get a lot of questions about dominance. I myself question dominance. Does it matter what is calculated, right? You have to keep in mind this does include everything, including stablecoins. This is SafeMoon. This is Doge. This is barely listed projects on every exchange imaginable. So this is the most encapsulating, other than CoinMarketCap, calculation. This is it's calculated by TradingView, so it may be best to curate your own dominance if you're curious what that would look like. Maybe exclude ICOs, exclude stable coins, include certain things. That's up to you. But obviously it's in free fall, right? I mean, there's no question about it. We haven't seen dominance drop like this since 2017, really. I mean, let's look at it here and be honest with ourselves, corners, that this doesn't look great. It doesn't look great on dominance. So it has it at 51%. It is a multi-year low, I believe, at this point. And for anyone who's been paying attention to me for any period of time, I've had this chart that I've talked about rather frequently. And there's a reason why I have altcoin season on here as a reminder to myself. Anytime we're below the 200-day moving average, which is this red fill for dominance, it is altcoin season. It's scam season. It's BitConnect season. It's TikTok influencer season, right? So it's not a surprise that we are bullish alts relative to BTC, which is another way to think of this. I guess what surprises me is the swiftness. It's concerning. Is it late stage? Is it late cycle? I mean, we saw this with ICOs. We saw this with a bunch of stuff, right, in 2017. And that just continued. So I don't know. I don't really have great commentary on it. Does it even matter in the grand scheme of things? If we're printing 2 billion in Tether every other week, that's going to really crush dominance, right? So if you include the caveats, maybe you take this seriously. But if you don't own any BTC, you are laughing, as they say across the pond, because alts are mooning and BTC is basically flat. It's kind of bizarre from a grand market read perspective. Generally in bear markets you see high correlation. In bull markets you see random things popping off, right? So we're definitely in a bull market type situation where ETH is up, BTC is down, ETH-BTC is way up. All these alts are insanely bullish right now. One other thing I'll just say about dominance, there are other ways to calculate it, like I was discussing. This is what they call the real Bitcoin dominance. I just Googled Bitcoin dominance. This was literally the first thing that popped up. So they calculated dominance at 73%. This does not include ICOs or stablecoins. It's a very tight list. Bitcoin Gold made me laugh. BSV, Bcash. The bottom line here to make your own dominance chart if you really care about it that much as far as getting signals from it. Even on this chart, though, there's clearly a multi-month low in dominance. So it's no surprise alts are doing well. That's the TLDR analysis of dominance. If we look at the DeFi perp index, another way of just I use dominance to look for broad patterns in alts. I look at the indices to look at broad patterns in DeFi type stuff. So this is the 12-hour DeFi perp on FTX. And on the 12-hour, it looks fine, right? It's definitely choppy. It's kind of reminiscent of most of late 2020. Hasn't retested the 200 on this time frame, but it doesn't look terrible. It looks a lot like the Uni chart, which I'll get to. Just kind of sideways up channeling, range bound, but not neutral, more bullish than neutral. Hard to necessarily get excited about longing any of this until it breaks resistance. And even when it did break resistance, it got sloshed around and pulled back. So overall, this looks fine. But when you look at it on the daily, it's like, oh man, I get nervous because we're so far away from this 200-day moving average, right? And putting this into context, it's, January was literally straight up. It was new paradigm type move. So it makes sense that we're this far away from the 200-day moving average, taking that into account. It's just in a vacuum, when you see this, to me, it's like, be careful. Mean reversion is going to be nasty if it happens, right? But still, this looks okay. It's not necessarily any pattern per se. I think this down here was more of an inverted head and shoulders mess than whatever this is. But anyway, Uniswap perp also looks fine. It looks like it loves to sort of droop below the 50 on the 12-hour. Hasn't touched the 200 on the 12-hour since breaking out. So I guess if dominance was more bullish, I would be more concerned at a mean reversion type play for alts. But with dominance just surging and not giving a crap about where it sits, it feels like alt scam season is fully on board for sure. And it's, again, no surprise, not to toot my own horn here about seasonality, but Q2 historically has been the most bullish for alts, period, end of story. So no surprise alts are doing well here. Start off with Link. Link is so boring at this point relative to everything else. Do I love that the team is selling the equivalent of whatever it is, 130 million a month? No, I don't love that, but it doesn't really impact trading volumes. When you look at the percentages, it's like less than 5%. Even if you throw out some of the fake volumes from some of the exchanges, it's above the median line of the pitchfork. It's in a multi-year pitchfork. It's above the 200-day moving average. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I like 60 by the end of the year. The Marines hate it when I put a ceiling below 100 on their beloved coin, but it just looks fine. Up and to the right? What else is there to say? Up only. Even the Link BTC chart looks good. We had this vicious sell-off morph into an atom left, is how you'd refer to it, this V, and then you have this falling wedge breakup, and then you get the U. It's kind of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skateboarder 2, or whatever the game was. It's like kick flip into ollie into grind, and then we're just like comboing off all this stuff. And the big picture is Adam and Eve, bullish reversal. It's above the 200-day moving average now. It looks like it probably wants to go back to this median line of the pitchfork. So I think it looks okay. I think it actually saved itself from certain death and doom and devastation. Band, another oracle, looks fine on the 12-hour. This got sloshed around like everything else. It did hit its cup and handle target. If you're measuring this out and you're adding, if you're being a good trader and putting in all the risk reward ratios and figuring out where to go long, where to buy, where to sell, how you trade this in a vacuum is you'd buy the breakout, sell up here. That's it, you're done. But overall, it still looks fine. It's in a bull trend. Band BTC has this inverted and shoulders quality to it that I still like. So that looks fine in a vacuum as well for bullish continuation. And the reason I'm talking about these charts in this order is because we have a managed DeFi portfolio now on Enzyme.Finance, non-custodial portfolio management tool. Low AUM at the moment, but we're getting there. And how this works is I will be managing around 15 to 20 alt positions that are more buy and hold than anything. But they're going to be informed by TA news, that sort of thing. So if you're wondering why is he talking about these charts in this order? That's why. Maker continues to surge past escape velocity. There's clearly a repricing of Maker going on as far as indices buying it, boomers buying it because they like the boomer DeFi stuff. I don't even know. You can't really put a target on this because this is what true price discovery looks like. When we talk about all-time highs being broken, this is exactly the type of thing you want to see. You want to see not euphoria necessarily, but just a series of markup phases, consolidation, markup, consolidation. So I don't know where this is going. Maybe it goes to 10K. I don't know. But Maker's clearly not going anywhere. DAI's not going anywhere. They have a buyback and burn mechanic. I mean, people love that stuff. So I'm bullish on it. I don't know where you buy this if you're not in, but it looks good. Comp also got sloshed around. Collectively, these are a mix of like inverted head and shoulders or cup and handle or just a ranged mess. But comp still looks fine to me. Looks like bullish continuation. Looks like it's ready for more up. Bounced on the 12-hour 200. Overall looks fine. Aave also looks fine. Inverted head and shoulders mess. 12-hour 5200 came back together. It got super wide. This is where you say, uh-oh, mean reversion's coming. Mean reversion comes, then you say, okay, now what does this look like? Does it look bullish? Does it look bearish? Does it look neutral? Is there a pattern here? But this looks more bullish to me than bearish. I still like all-time high retest essentially. And it probably goes without saying, but so long as any of these projects can figure out layer 2 stuff, I think that'll be bullish for not only them, but for all of DeFi. Uni continues this upward grind in this channel, nonsensical random walk. I don't think it's like coffee, and I don't think it's, you know, it's a bunch of nothing really. Looks like a hot mess on the 12-hour, but 5200 on the 12-hour look close enough to not be super concerned about mean reversion, and this just looks like slow grind up to me. But you can see the difference between, you know, this price discovery where it's like sheepishly going to like $1 above previous all-time highs, right? And then like I don't really want to go, versus Maker where it's like, you know, there's a new sheriff in town on Maker versus a lot of this other stuff. Sushi kind of a bit of a dud compared to everything else. Probably one of the more bearish charts. If anything, potential head and shoulders, really, really messy, but like shoulder, head, shoulder, I don't know. This looked like it was okay, good to go, and then it got crushed more so than everything else. So I don't know about Sushi in the near term, because it doesn't look so hot. You know, this is clearly different than most of these other charts I'm showing. Curve, again, cup and handle and or just range bound, looks fine. 6 hour, not a lot of data, so you gotta move the timeframes down. But I like 5+ on curve based on the fibs there. Balancer, probably one of the best looking charts this week because it's got this ascending triangle characteristic to it, which has a bullish bias, bullish continuation bias. Is it perfect? No. Is, you know, our chart pattern's always going to look perfect? No, but I think it's not there. So I'm going to call it an ascending triangle. I like higher highs. I didn't even measure this out, but I like 100+ for Balancer. If this doesn't get scared of its own shadow at all-time highs like it did the other day. BNT also looks ready for mean reversion to me. I mean, this is scary. This looks like we're on the edge of a cliff and you're looking down, you're getting vertigo, you're wondering what's going on. I don't really want to fall off this cliff. You know, look what happened here, right? This is what I'm afraid of if I long BNT at this point in time. Now, BNT also has a buyback and burn mechanic. They have significant DEX volume, blah, blah, blah. They're part of the conversation, but the token itself just looks a little too hot to trot at this point. It looks like it wants to pull back to me. It needs to either go sideways for a little bit, have some sort of dip, something. Just looks a little too overbought for me, and that's on the daily, so it needs some time. ZRX actually hit its cup and handle target. You know, so if you're trading this on a really tight time frame, targets were hit. But overall, I think it looks fine. It's more range bound and neutral than anything. It probably needs the moving average on the daily to catch up to price there. This is 1 inch on the 4 hour range bound mess. You know, it's had several range bound messes here, 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 and it's just kind of in the middle now. If you fib this out, the highs and the lows, you get basically 8 to 10 as far as the target on the upside. So as long as it can hold this range, I like higher highs. I like new all-time highs. But if this range breaks, it probably means that everything is selling off. So this is a good like canary in the coal mine, maybe, so to speak. If this breaks below 350, then probably all of these charts I'm looking at are in trouble. Ren also, much like BNT, was due for a mean reversion. It actually hit the 200-day moving average on a wick. Didn't close down there, but it hit it on a wick. And it did go to 0 on Binance on the Ren USDT chart. So I just think Ren needs some time to reconsolidate. And historically, it's been quite of a mess on the chart. You know, just looking at this is a daily. So this is even zoomed out. And it just likes to have temper tantrums repeatedly and then make a decision. But I don't think the trend is at risk. I just think it needs a little bit more time to figure itself out because there's nothing here yet. It's not there's no chart pattern that I can see, right? Even this took some time to even figure out what was going on here. So I just think it needs some time. Then lastly, SNX. SNX looked like it was setting up for a mixture of a falling wedge, inverted head and shoulders. That broke. What it is now, I don't know, but it doesn't look like it's performing well. on the daily, trend isn't at risk or anything like that, but it just looks like, again, it needs some more time to figure itself out. So I think this week, I think there are some clear sort of winners and losers to look out for. Seems fairly obvious to me what's ranging, what's bullish, what's bearish, what's stalling out here on the trend. So that's all for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.